All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Here we are. It's been a long time, but today we will get to play through the grand finale of my favorite game of all time. I see my dad is already in the chat. Hi, Dad. And I've got the game started up, so without further ado, switch it over. I will minimize that. And, oh, Boo's there. Hi, Boo. So I already took the time to make sure that we're ready on the save file to go through this final section. There we go. Okay. And I just want to recap what's going on in the story, because it's been a little while since we had something that was really story relevant. I mean, last week we were just doing a bunch of hidden bosses, and the week before that we were making our way through these big dungeons that are interesting from a gameplay perspective, but not really a lot of story going on. So the Kuiper belt is encroaching on Filgaia, and we had set up the trapezohedron to attempt to contain it so we could destroy it. That did not work. Irving set up a backup plan in motion that involved going down the spiral tower to the core of Filgaia, Glaive Le Gable. We have not yet seen exactly why. We will see what exactly he is planning, but we went down that same path to meet him here. And through this, the grand finale. Yeah, hi Claire, glad to see you're here. This final sequence, it's actually pretty cool. I really love it. Because there's 6 playable characters but only 3 in a battle at once, they give you a way to make sure everyone gets used. There's going to be three solo battles, and then 1 battle with the other 3 characters, and then Ashley gets a final to it. You'll see. But it's pretty neat. How many times have I faced the final sequence before tonight? Probably about a dozen, would be my guess. Noob! Hey, how many times have you done it? Okay. Oh, Nick's here too. Hi, Nick. So here we go. I appreciate that Glaive Le Gable just happens to be set up in a way to be conducive to this particular boss structure. Irving says he finally made it here. The Kuiper belt was once again trapped in the vessel, but the Kuiper belt gushed out of the vessel, and now Filgaia itself is... Okay. Okay. This friend of his who had a cousin who knew the guy who wrote it that it couldn't be done. Its roots have divided and spread to even the guardian of mud, Glaive Le Gable. At this rate, no matter how much we attack the body, the roots will get energy to endlessly regenerate. First, the 3 roots extending out from the Kuiper belt must be cut and their regeneration stopped. I pray for the safety and success of the arms members. Do this while my will keeps all of the Kuiper belt from spilling out of the vessel. Separate units will attack each root, and the 4th unit will attack the main body. Alright, the 3 root battles are broadly similar. I do think the later ones are the ones that typically have status effects. So I'll have Lilka do those. We'll do Cannon, Brad, Lilka, and then Tim and Maribel are joining Ashley. You can't send Ashley to do a route. Ashley has to go to the core. I love that they did just a little bit more puzzle work here. Not really puzzle, I guess. A slight challenge. The 3rd one is the hardest. There we go. And then Lilka has to do the same, and then we're in the boss fights. There we go. If you fall off, you take a bit of damage. It's nothing too punishing, but you want to go into these battles with full health, obviously. Can you guys hear it okay? I turned the sound down a little, but I think I might have turned it down too much. I'll turn it up a little. Okay. Alright, good. This is how it should be. This sense of woe will be perfect for exercising people. Alright, good. So Cannon still has yet to unlock Eagle Claw. This audio mix is how it should be. Yeah, I bet. Watch, it happens right here. No. That would have been such a perfect moment. If that had worked, I would have, like, cut it into a YouTube short. My first ever YouTube short. That'd be funny. Okay. Let's go ahead and use a Mega Berry. Oops. Alright. It's important to spend that FP because when she gains FP, she boosts her stats and she recovers health. So, unfortunately, the goal of using that FP efficiently is counter to the goal of trying to unlock Eagle Claw, but oh well. We'll play it safe for the big berry here. Probably we would have been okay just attacking because she was going to gain some health from the FP, but these bombastic skill names though, right? They're great. Alright, Galactic Explosion! It occurs to me now that these battles are going to be slightly harder for me than they usually are because we're at level 43 right now, which is not terrible, but I'm normally a higher level from having done all the hidden bosses before going down here. But I did the hidden bosses on another save file here, so these characters haven't done that, so they're lower level. Should still not have too much of a problem because Wild Arms games are generally made with the philosophy, at least that's been my experience, that the actual main bosses aren't that hard. If you've experienced this much of the story, I think the creators think you should be able to experience the end of the story. And if you want a real challenge, that's what the hidden bosses are for. Getting more defense and resistance here means these attacks should hopefully be doing less damage over time. Though still quite a bit. There we go. One down. Yeah, pretty sure that first one doesn't have any status effect attacks. Yeah, I liked it. There's going to be a significant amount of music in this final sequence that you've never heard before. Even more so than Canon, Brad should be able to recover a lot of health from gaining FP. And also some of this route's attacks are weaker in terms of damage dealt, but have a chance at negative conditions. So if they don't get those conditions, then he's going to be fine. Blue Riot in particular, I think it can confuse you. Railgun. Pan flute forward. You mean in the music? Poison. And of course he does it right after we use all of our FP. Alright, I'll cure that now. Alright. Back to full. Okay. That one I'm not too worried about because we'll be at 100 FP and it'll be cured automatically before you know it. It did prevent that bit of HP recovery right there, but it's not a huge problem. If you have disease and then you hit 100 FP, it cures your disease and you have the skill that restores HP, you do get the HP restoration after it removes the disease, which is nice. Railguns! There we go. And now for the best character's opportunity. I forget what she says here, but I know I love it. That's right. A negotiated resolution is impossible with all this bickering. So she's got the full Libra equipped, which means she's... yeah, it is a big move. Which means she's equipped, she's immune to negative conditions. Look at predicting Twitter. Too real. Also, unlike the other characters, she has a healing spell, so I don't have to rely on items. Always useful. Not sure if I mentioned this before, but dual cast, the force ability that lets you use 2 spells back to back. If you use the right combinations of spells, you can unlock secret spells that there's no other way to cast them. For instance, if I combine High Flame with regular Flame, it doesn't work. Why did that not work? Well, now I look like an idiot. Boo, did I do something wrong? Combine Saber and Saber. Yeah, no, I know that's another one, but I thought Flame plus High Flame was Caloric Nova. Mom is watching, but not on Twitch. I'm not streaming anywhere else. She probably means she doesn't have chat pulled up. I thought it was either order. I'll have to figure out why that didn't work. Come on, Loka. That'll be quite a thing. Why I want to do my stuff pre-recorded, so if something goes horribly wrong, I can pretend it never happened. That is an advantage, yeah. Alright, we'll try Saber. Saber here. Okay, there we go. Akashic Rewriter. Which actually just looks like Saber, but does significantly more damage. In fact, more than double damage, so it's more than just using Saber twice. I love that the umbrella thing she does there. I think it's Akashic. It might be Akashic. It is a real word, but it's a very rare one. Mom's not logged in. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining us. Might be that the spells run on. Okay. I thought it was either order. I thought I remember testing it and like it works in either order, but I don't know. I'll have to try that again at some point. This is what's happening elsewhere in the world right now. This ghastly thing is the battle risking Fogaia's fate. Everyone has weaknesses and frailties. They are humans just like us. They're humans who shed tears and blood. They get hurt and ragged, but still fight. It's not a battle of heroes. It's people just like us fighting. So we have to fight with them. But I am powerless. Okay. Let's believe that'll be our battle. To offer a prayer, intense feelings always reach the intended. To one's prayers and goodwill, distance makes no difference no matter how far it is. I don't want to let go of the hands clasped. Support won't reach for here. We need to move closer, Scott. In my opinion, the power of emotions is simply unrealistic. But to not be able to believe in my friends here and now, that isn't a world worth. It's not logic, it's my own conclusion. Red cannon barrel. Come back safely. Oh yeah, there's one more puzzle. It's pretty easy though. Pressing one of them rotates the one you pressed 90 degrees, and then the two next to it 180 degrees. You have to make them all face north. It's actually really easy, you just have to press each of them twice. There we go. Just realized I never looked before to see if there's anything over here. I mean, I don't think there would be. Oh yeah, you didn't know that? I mean, because the two next to it rotate 180 degrees, pressing any one thing twice will rotate the one you're pressing 180, and then the other two 360, which is 0. Well, now you know. It is. So we found them. I just don't understand. We fought side by side to protect Filgaia. You're right. I fought for Filgaia too. I'm no different from you on that. Then what do you think? I try not to think about how Irving must have been able to get through this whole thing by himself. Well, not by himself, with his sister. Is Irving's sister not actually lovely? Well, she's certainly very pretty, but I knew of the threat the Kuiper Belt posed before anyone else. Incidentally, when you get to the Sealja region, if you go to the observatory and talk to the people there, which you don't have to do and doesn't really reward you in any gameplay way for doing, they will mention that uh, Irving is affiliated with the observatory and sometimes comes there to do research, um, which lays the foundation for how he knew. Just a nice little bit of like, this isn't the most important plot point. It's not vital that the player is aware of it, but it's nice that if you go out of the way, you can fill those things in. To fight the being consuming the world, a large power is needed, almost as large as Filgaia. But there are as many opinions as there are people. People aren't strong enough to instantly unify against such an unimaginable threat. That's why I created a clearly perceptible threat for people to experience. That was the terrorist organization Odessa. Yeah, he was... We learned this in-game a couple weeks ago. I forgot to bring it up in the recap, but Irving basically was the... He orchestrated the entire first disc of the game. Specifically to present a threat that people could understand more clearly and unify against it. This is the plot point that I have come to understand, I think, is from Watchmen. Although I haven't read Watchmen or seen the adaptations, so I can't really confirm that directly, but I'm told that that's something that Ozymandias does in Watchmen. An easily understood threat disturbs people more easily. What would happen if the Defenders of Justice showed up? Yep, arms showed up. People began to unite across national boundaries. You already know that. Wish that could happen in real life. There have been plenty of very tangible, credible threats in the real world, and people don't seem to be unifying. To oppose the Kuiper Belt, all countries set cooperative policies to fight against it together. The Prison of Mana trapezohedron couldn't have been invoked without cooperation from all three nations. What you've done is wrong. People have been hurt from your plan. Some have even lost their lives. Can confirm Ozymandias creates a unifying threat, yeah. It's on Twitter. Okay. Wow, we're just really dumping on Twitter today, aren't we? Yeah, I seem to recall hearing that. At one point, someone I followed online made a comic talking about that plot point in the context of Watchmen and saying that, like, COVID didn't do that in real life. Zack Snyder changed it into a bomb. Really? I thought that movie was like an extremely close adaptation. I don't know. Like I said, I'm only indirectly familiar with this. But that was how I learned that, like, oh, Wild Arms 2 was influenced by Watchmen. It's clear that physical attacks on the parallel universe, a conceptual being, are meaningless. So think of the universe as a life form. Consider it a spirit and seal it in a vessel. In essence, the flesh that should have been destroyed is created. It's what I suggested to Odessa. By using the demon summoning, my sister will have inside her. By making Altacia a vessel, the abominable life form will... Odessa might attack, but you do still need to go into work today. You joke, but I also have work to do later today. Anastasia never wanted anything like this. Even though I know we'll slash each other, I have no fear or regrets. How can the gang hear Irving from here? I mean, listen, this is one of those things that, like, you got to take it with a grain of salt if we're trying to interpret it literally. This last battle takes place in Altacia. Like, this is supposed to be inside her body. How does that work? How did they shrink down to do a fantastic voyage in her? I don't know. There's no plausible mechanism by which that could occur. I also don't really care because it's allegorical. I promised Anastasia that I'd stop Valeria's suffering. Yeah, I mean, these characters do have magic powers. Nice thing about having Marival here is she can do status lock. Rachel says, and she's adorable. That's true. Yeah. I think this is the same song that plays when you challenge Regula, but I'm not sure. Most runs I don't even bother trying against Regula, and obviously this battle only comes up once per run, so I haven't heard this song a whole lot. Ah. Alright, we'll do a quick Guardian Summon here. Also, we're about to use Access, so the song will be changed. Ragu's theme is different? Okay. There we go. Now everyone has status lock, so as long as none of the characters die, none of the characters can get any negative status effects. As I recall, the Kuiper Core resists fire, so gun blaze is not terribly effective. Please, Mad Lucy. I think it resists all elements, actually. It's just fire is the one relevant to gun blaze. Do a quick heal there. There we go. Fun opportunity to show off a cool ability right here. This is one of those abilities that's more cool than actually practical. High combo allows Tim to use those special Gold Guardian abilities. This is what Dandyrum does. Freezes time, and Tim gets 3 free turns. Yeah, the ultimate power in the universe, a cat. I didn't bother to go through and learn any important abilities, so he can't actually do a whole lot. But it's neat. And time begins to move. Would have been the perfect cue for Robert to show up, yeah. He was here earlier. But of course, being a cat, he doesn't follow that kind of law. It's true. Let's see. I don't know, there's not a ton Tim really needs to do with this FP. I guess what I should have done is unlock some of his abilities so I could have used them then. But Tim's abilities are rather tedious to unlock. If I were going for like a do everything run, I would do that. But in general, it's not super important. I never knew whether that was intended as Darkstar Bow or Darkstar Bow. Like, is it making like a ribbon? Or, I don't know. John Carpenter reference? What is? I'm not sure what you mean. Darkstar? Maybe. I don't know. Carpenter's first movie is a low-budget sci-fi flick called Darkstar, but I haven't seen it, so I couldn't say. Since them seem to be making references left and right, yeah. Yeah, they definitely do enjoy that. I'm not sure how many references they've made that I haven't caught. There's a lot of different influences in the Wild Arms series. Huh. I was thinking that would be enough to finish it off. Oh well. Let's use a full clip, just because we haven't yet. What about Bolt Action? Bolt Action was always my favorite. Wild Arms Wiki calls it Darkstar Blow, but I think that might just be a typo. Yeah, I guess it must be. Well, Either there's a typo in the wiki or in the game. I'd have to check the actual Japanese name of the ability. Maybe it said Dark Star Blow in Japanese. You know, this localization team has certainly made mistakes before. Now, this is a really interesting point to talk about the story, because right now, at this point, we have defeated the Kuiper Core. Which means ostensibly the primary antagonist of the entire game has been defeated. We did it using ethically dubious methods, to say the least, and Ashley wasn't able to stop that from happening. We weren't able to stop Irving's plan. So, like, if the philosophical stakes of this game are about whether or not it is okay to sacrifice someone for the larger good, and the Ashley and the other player characters in ARMS are consistently against sacrifice, and Irving sacrifices himself and his sister, as well as a number of other innocent people along the way, to save the world. That's kind of it kind of undermines its own plot, wouldn't you say? It undermines its own themes, rather. If it ended right here, this would be kind of a downer ending. I like that they just wordlessly walk down here. And of course, Lilka is the first to speak. We won, right? We all were able to save Filgaia. Twinkly synth bit, yeah. Why is everyone so sad? Were we wrong? Because we won, we were right. Because we won, we were right isn't a reason. Everything that happened here is a fact. That's all there is to it. You didn't win or lose, it's just over. Except... we've known for the entire game that Ashley had Lord Blazer inside of him, and that every time he uses access, or even just fights, Blazer gets stronger. Naturally, this was going to spill over at some point. It's the world where I am. That's harsh after we've been together for so long. We fought too. The negative feelings that grew inside you during battles are now the food that sustains me. Not just you. Swirling inside all humans are the most unsightly and strong energy forces. That is definitely the absolute perfect sword to destroy me. But don't say you forgot that you weren't able to draw the Argent Law. Once you had my strength, the strength you tried to destroy, then you finally got the sword. Just to recap, because I know this was a long time ago, and most people haven't played this game 1,700 times like I have, he is telling the truth here. To a point. In the Sword Cathedral, Ashley at first was not able to draw the sword, and then the demon summoning ritual attempted to instantiate Lord Blazer in everyone present. It succeeded in Ashley, maybe, to some extent. Partially. I mean, they were called Proto-Blazers. But it was only after that that Ashley was actually able to draw the sword. However, correlation is not causation, and Blazer thinks it was his own power. It wasn't. The reason that Ashley was able to draw the sword, as he himself established during that scene... Thanks a lot, Kana. Yeah. The reason that he had the strength to draw it is because after the disaster and people started dying, there was a need to protect people and a need to go home to Marina to fulfill his promise to her. It was that need to protect people and to be with the woman he loves that gave him the strength to do that. It was not Lord Blazer. I mean, it was Lord Blazer that caused the problem, but it wasn't Lord Blazer that gave him the strength. Lament the era of no heroes, and live in fear of the future that will burn to smithereens. I mentioned this earlier, but the Wild Arms 2's take on heroes is very similar to that one from Bertolt Brecht's Life of Galileo, where a character says, "Pity a land with no heroes," and then another character rejoins, "Pity a world that needs a hero." It's not such a puny world that it's sustained by the power of only a hero. This world is full of the interactions and exchanges of the people and their thoughts. So the power that sustains the universe exists in Filgaia. It's the power of all life. A time without heroes. Not without heroes, but an era that doesn't need heroes. There's no value in a world protected by such things. If everyone's hearts become one, then we can rise and stand together. We can support the world without sacrificing a hero. Here we go. The actual final battle. Love that little fire effect on the words there. Also, I just want to say, the fact that Ashley kind of takes an androgynous form here that seems to be a mixture of him and Anastasia. I personally choose to interpret this as Wild Arms says trans rights. That's an idiosyncrasy of mine, but this entire streaming channel has been idiosyncrasies of mine about the Wild Arms series, so what's one more? The character's name is Ashley at this point, and we do have Ashley's stats and any personal skills that you've given to Ashley. However, the arms and obviously Lord Blazer's abilities have been replaced with those of Anastasia from back when she was in our party during the memory maze. And of course, because this is a PS1 RPG, the final battle has a remix of the original theme song. Anyway, I did test at one point to confirm relatively recently something I've suspected since I was a kid, which is that Lord Blazer actually has infinite health. If all you do is attack Lord Blazer with their regular attack over and over again, he will never die. What you do is use Impulse. This is not terribly difficult strategically, but it's important thematically. And now we see why. Argitlam isn't a weapon to bury demons. By gathering the will to live into power, it becomes the key to open the door to the future. It's not a power to be wielded alone, it's a power for everyone to wield together. If you check the description, it says sword attack with power of friends. Yeah. Saving the world with magical socialism. Yeah, he does. He doesn't use it that often, but he does. But yeah, that's the thing, is that, like, magical socialism is kind of true, because the entire point of this part, we're going to go through Impulse several times, and we're always going to hear from someone else in Filgaia. The whole point of this is that it's not Ashley versus Lord Blazer, or Anastasia versus Lord Blazer, or Argitlam versus Lord Blazer. It's everyone in the world cooperating. Because cooperation is the actual strength. It's also why you shouldn't trust any single individual, say politician, who says that they are the single answer to everyone's problems. The way to keep everyone safe and protected is to make a society where people take care of each other. That's the point of this. And I do want to acknowledge that, like, this particular trope of during a big final battle, cutting to other characters we've met along the way as a sort of like, drawing the whole game to a close. It's not like Wild Arms 2 is the first or only game to have done this. Offhand, I remember Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door had a very similar final battle in that particular regard. Um, and I'm sure there have been others as well. But, like, I do think it's more resonant in this case than in other cases because the game was specifically about how having a single hero or a handful of single heroes to stand up and be willing to lay down their lives to protect everyone is not how you actually keep people safe. People are safe when people take care of each other. Community, exactly. And there's a ban evader. Let's go ahead and ban that. Anyway, I love this sequence so much. Everyone was born on this star and lived here. That's Colette, Tim's dear friend from Bhaskar. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of others that have done this kind of thing. Anyway, you win the battle when you use Impulse enough times. Everything depends on being alive. Only when you're alive do you get to fall in love or get to fight with others. If tomorrow comes because today's life light starts the creation of the future, then this light should be delivered to those battling at the end of today. Thanks, Terry. That didn't make a ton of sense. But I love it anyway. That was Loka's friend from CLJ. Let's heal a bit. You can actually die in this battle. Ashley's not invincible. But, we're strong enough that it's not likely to happen. It's not a terribly difficult battle. Right now, all the souls in Frogaya are trying to join together. Just do a regular attack to build up a little FP. Meryl. The girl Brad met in Tibok. Okay. I've seen very little Dragon Ball. I'll check with Rachel about that later. She knows it better than I do. Claire mentioned something called a Spirit Bomb in Dragon Ball. Remind me to ask you about it later. We're not gonna push it all off on dude. That's what Tony calls Ashley. Because it's so important, we're going to protect it with our own hands. I'm not sure we can handle it on our own, so if we get into trouble, help us out, okay? When you get into a bind, the young arms could help you out in return. We like Filgaia just like everyone else. Oh, this game is so good. Healed for a bit. Alright, that's good. And this is the last one. This world, the life we live, and Ashley all. I like today better than yesterday, and I like the unknown tomorrow even more. Everyone together. There we go. Finally. Everyone here and everyone waiting for us. It's a victory we won together. Love Marival there. And this is, of course, one of those scenes where Marival's lines are standalones because you may or may not have gotten her in your party. And Can's like, wait, hang on, I think I figured out a new attack. This sequence here, we're going to see like an epilogue, seeing each of the characters in turn. It proceeds automatically. The music is gorgeous. Sometimes I listen to just this track on its own. But it does proceed automatically. I can't stop except with pausing the emulator like I've just done. So sometimes it might advance too quickly to read things, and I apologize in advance for that. There's Colette. Still nervous. Well, a boy she had a crush on helped save the world. I would be too. Oh. Bum, 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 ba-da-bum. Bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, ba-da-bum. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, ba-da-bum. Yeah. Some of these are arrangements of existing songs in other parts of the game. Others, I think, are unique to this. Like maybe the composer wrote them, but they didn't get used anywhere else. I think the melody that's my favorite from this medley is, I think, the one coming up next. Yeah, I love this one. Bum 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 bum. This one does have lyrics in another version. If you'd like to hear the original Japanese lyrics to that one, message me sometime later. I'll link to a YouTube video. It's called Yozora, which means the night sky. I'm not crying. I'm okay. I'm cool. Missing someone. Of her two-handed wave. There she is. There is one more scene after this. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that line. I I'm not sure what it's supposed to imply. I kind of wonder. Maybe I should check the original Japanese, see how it read. As she always is, Lilka is a big mood. Falling asleep trying to study. She is me. I love her so much. I like that Brad's just. I just want to build houses for people. Incidentally, the song that's playing right now is this one, Zephyr's. Yes, there's two S's. I don't know why. Um, that was my display name on Twitter back in the day, and it was my last Twitter display name, which I didn't plan, but if I had known that whatever I was going to pick next would be my last Twitter display name, that is the one I would have picked, so a fitting end. I didn't think about that. But, yeah, I could kind of see that. They both have very interesting but complicated relationships with Anastasia. That's true. That's true. They are a good balance. Ashley's bad habit to show up late on important occasions. Ashley and Marina have twins. Mhm. One last mistranslation. Have you decided on their names? They don't actually say. I always imagined that their names were Irving and Altacia, to honor those who were lost, even though they were far from perfect. They were still people who mattered. But that's just a headcanon. Obviously, they don't say explicitly. They're never alone. So that's the end of the game. If we make an extra file, we can view our final character stats, rewatch a few movies, check the completed monster encyclopedia, etc. But that's basically it. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. I know I did. What's that? Ugh. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining me. Yeah, it was alright. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope now you appreciate why I love this game so much. And I'm not planning on streaming again anytime soon, but I might at some point in the future. I do want to keep up Thursday being a day that I do something fun online because I have enjoyed that aspect of it. So I was thinking if I do, not if I do, I'm going to. I am going to redouble my efforts to actually start making my own games. And what I'd like to do going forward is on Thursday to at least uh, publish like uh, screen caps or devlog or something like that online. I'll probably put it on Mastodon and Blue Sky every Thursday just to say, hey, here's what I'm doing, so people can see, join in, and maybe get excited about a thing that I want to do. Anyway, um, thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. It really does. Um, so I will sign off, but you will definitely hear more from me in the future. And like I said, I don't. I think I'm probably not like never going to stream again. It's just not going to be a weekly thing from now on. So this is Amy Loca Peace signing off. Have a good night, everyone. I love you all.